you definitely can't make women your sole focus in life. You absolutely cannot
Yeah,
do
see,
this.
that's something that I was thinking about because I don't buy the idea that sex is part of sex self-actualization. I don't believe in that at all. And I've been there. Like it's not like I don't know this. Like I from my own experience. Like I used to think that. I used to think more like sex is some kind of part of self knowledge or all this kind of stuff. And I don't. I didn't find it to be true ultimately. And ultimately, it's like you're just chasing pleasure. It doesn't really get you anywhere. I mean, I see what you're saying about like maybe like a little bit of it does kind of give you some kind of knowledge that you're capable of achieving it or something. But balance against all the risks and consequences. I just don't. I don't see sex as part of self actualization.
Um, I think this is just something we might disagree
Mm,
on this, and I also just I go back to Paul's reference in the article, and I think he's right about like now I agree with you when you're saying like, oh, you could potentially get it as a guy, but you don't want it, and that gives you power, and I
right.
100% agree with that. But I do think that for the total submission of a woman and to bring her into your frame, you are going to have to sleep with her, and it does need to be done relatively quickly. I'm not saying like it needs to be done immediately on like the first night or anything like
Yeah,
that, although
yeah.
like that's not necessarily a terrible thing.
I mean, I think that the opposite is equally possible. That you become addicted to the sex, and then she brings you into your frame, and then you're even worse off.
Yeah,
That happens all the time.
yeah, and it does. And again, I think I'm just getting back to the fact that I'm whether this is gonna blow up in our face or not.
Mhm.
I'm trusting the guys who are clearly high IQ in our communities and everything like that to you know not not use this
I think I see where
specifically
yeah.
just for pleasure kind of
I think I
deal.
see what you're saying. You're saying that like in the end, what matters is that like men reclaim the authority in the world, and like
Yes.
if that takes if it's not, it might be a little sloppy getting there, but like that's what it is, and that's what it's got to be. Like
Yeah, that
yeah.
that definitely is my end state goal. I think a central, I don't know, I guess some founding principle, I guess,
Mm.
for all of us into the future, whoever, like what Turnip was saying about our factual fighting, however that might be, after we clear them out, I think we can all agree that a central theme of whatever it is that we build next, it needs to be anti-egalitarian and anti-feminist.
Yeah.
So that's where I see also this material that I'm trying to introduce into this community. It's always going to be useful because no matter what side of us wins this factional fighting, guys are still going to need to get this essential knowledge in manhood, how to deal with women, how
Yeah.
women operate, their nature, men's
Yeah.
nature, sexual dynamics, all of that. Like none of this stuff is ever going to go away.
Yeah, I
And
totally, I totally agree with that. And I totally on board. Like I said, like I internalized so much of that stuff, and it's been, incredibly clarifying for me. And I think all young men need some kind of grounding in that knowledge.